We're not all packed up for the summer just yet. No, welcome back to This Week in Indies. As our independent spirits carry the heavy burden of doing it all ourselves, how much does independence inside of us equate to what we accomplish on the outside? Is that road to independence a more satisfying one to celebrate? The roundtable discussion panel with Madilynn Dale will be by to discuss all of that. Then, in the Indie Connection, CL Cannon will be along to give you indie books if you're a fan of The Witch King by Martha Wells. So grab a cup of coffee and celebrate independence with us one more time. Here is This Week in Indies with your host, Madilynn Dale.
Hey guys, and happy Sleepy Sunday, or whatever day it is, wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is currently still morning here with me, and I am feeling the fatigue of travels last week. So you guys, if I yawn, just bear with me. Hopefully won't put you to sleep too much, because we've got a great topic today. And before I bring everybody in, if you are catching this show through Facebook, send us a star to let our hosts and producers know how much you appreciate what they do here at Go Indie Now. Every time you contribute, you get entered into our season prize package drawing with gift cards, swag, and more. And that drawing is getting ready to happen soon, but you can still enter. Like, get on, watch some episodes, and drop comments, share. We could always use some love. And while I've got your attention, hit the like button now and subscribe. Like, do it. It's 2 seconds and you've got it. But I'm your host for today, Madilynn Dale. You can find all my stuff at thechaptergoddess.com. And I'm a fantasy author, independent fantasy author. And I've got some other great authors here for you guys to check out and meet. Look at our panel. Woo! So, guys, we're going to go around. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell them kind of a little bit of what you write, because I know a lot of us write in multiple genres. And yeah, AJ, I'm going to let you take it away.
I'm AJ Mulliken. I write mostly romance, but it could be paranormal, contemporary, sci-fi. I write all across the board, different pairings. It's just, I guess I just love love.
You're muted.
I am S.M. Hillman. Most people just call me Sean. I write speculative fiction. That's mostly not about romance, actually. I don't love love. But you can find all my stuff here at thewickedboys.com. And I'm an independent author as well. So.
Yeah, hi, I'm Anita Stewart. I write under AF Stewart. I'm an indie author of horror, dark fantasy, and poetry, plus a whole bunch of other stuff like graphic design, media manager now at Crystal Lake Publishing, and a video show host.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I am Courtney, aka CL Cannon. I am the owner of Fiction Atlas Press, and I do a lot of things here on Go Indie Now, like the Indie Connection and the monthly marketing tip. And in my spare time, sometimes I write fantasy and sci-fi.
Hey y'all, I'm Vanessa Junta. I write urban fantasy primarily with horrific elements, unless I'm writing short, and then I'm writing horror. I also am a freelance editor, and I host a show here on the Go Indie Now network that will be here on tomorrow night at 9 p.m. called A Conversation and a Cocktail.
Yeah, and as you guys have noticed, we all have our fingers in multiple things. We're all constantly busy, and like, we enjoy it. At least I hope. So, all right, guys. So we have our independence as creatives. Now, what do we do with ourselves? Like, where is the first step once you've decided you're going to be an independent creative? What is the first step? Or at least, what is the first step that you took?
Panic?
Yes.
It's like, what am I doing? I'm over my head. That was the first step. Then the second step is calm breathing, and you can handle this. And then then a lot of Google searching.
Yes.
Google, yes, is definitely your friend. So
Constantly learning.
Yes.
I think that should be the first step is keep yourself open to learning new methods and new ways to be an indie, because it's not always the same. It changes all the time.
It's a huge, overwhelming amount of information and amount of responsibility that you have. And learning about all that can seem hugely daunting. I mean, it is. It is just the vast amount of knowledge that you have to be a successful indie is intimidating, right? Especially when you don't know any of it. So what I try to advise people, and I'm still learning, but like figure out what your first couple steps need to be. Learn about that first thing. Learn about the second thing. Do the first thing. Do the second thing. Like, don't feel like you have to learn everything all at once, because you don't.
I'm so guilty of that, of trying to do everything all at once. Like, I have to do it now.
Mhm.
Yes.
I guess I'll. Oh, sorry, Sean. You want to
go
go?
ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you have to be independent, of course, but when you start out, you need to try to, like Vanessa said, try something that you're comfortable with and learn a little bit at a time. What are your strengths? Identify those and start there. And then, you're going to have to also depend on other people who are already in the industry just to, look at what they are doing and try to find your own way to do that thing. Because if they're successful, there's something that's working for them that will probably work for you if you modify it in the way that you learn, or the way that works for you. And I guess that's what I'm saying. Sorry, my cat is going to probably do this through the whole thing. She just got spayed and she's just back there going, she's kind of needy right now.
Oh, I would be needy too.
Okay.
So for me, I was able, because I worked in role-playing games, that indie sphere for so long, that I was able to rely on a few of those, what I learned from that. So that helped quite a bit. So I think probably the first step, building on what the others have said, is if you already have some experience in something close to indie publishing, probably go ahead and rely on that. Take what you know and try and convert it to indie publishing. And directly on what CL mentioned is that build relationships, right? That's very important. Building relationships in this business with other indies and with traditional publishers is very important, because these folks already know what you don't know, and they've had experience in what you don't. So trying to, and they're able to, and I guess now we're able to answer questions you might have, that will save you a lot of grief.
Yes. I'm a big proponent of not reinventing the wheel. Having a community of writers who already do what you want to do is invaluable for real.
Absolutely. And I'm going to dive into that more, because that is on the list of questions. Like, what are some of the places you would recommend going to start building that community for yourself, to get those relationships? And I know a lot of us, we kind of circulate in multiple things, but let's think that as a perspective, as you're talking to someone who's just starting their journey of independence as a creative, like they've got their manuscript, and now they're trying to figure out what to do, if that makes sense.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Facebook author groups are good for that. I belong to a local group that's excellent. A Localton, Nova Scotia group that's excellent. For me, for writing fantasy, the Indie Fantasy Addicts author group, not their reader group, but the author group is also good. And there's a whole bunch of other Facebook groups, and also AuthorTube on YouTube. That's kind of like the little niche where the authors hang out on YouTube. There's a lot of independent authors there doing advice videos, doing sprints if you want to find more time to write, and things like that. So, and I was just involved in the AuthorTube Writing Conference, and there's a lot of good information in that conference, both this year and last year's conference, for newcomers who are just starting out if they want advice.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even think about the AuthorTube aspect of that. That's awesome, Anita.
I was going to say, obviously, social media groups, like Facebook groups. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but I do realize that it's maybe the easiest social media to navigate as a professional, with the ability to talk directly with other professionals. Obviously, the writing, well, currently it's called the Writing Tribe. That might change on Facebook.
Oh.
Give that a little bit of a, because I have to, because Vanessa makes me do that.
It's true.
But also here's another thing too. Going to conventions, and more specifically, because I know it's expensive, volunteering at conventions, ones that are close to you, even for a day. If you're volunteering in the space where authors are doing panels and things like that, if you can learn to moderate, that's a great skill. That's where I met a lot of people as a moderator for track panels and things like that, talking about writing. These are like little subversive things you can do, and people will remember you. Authors will remember you, especially if you're good at moderating and if you present yourself well. They'll remember who you are. They'll invite you to their spaces if they feel safe. And I think that's one way to kind of like build your, at least build a reputation, which is very important.
It is. Yeah.
Build those relationships. You can, it sounds weird, and it's very difficult to do well, but you can approach certain authors. Some authors love to hear from fans and other upcoming authors who want advice. Build friendships. Don't just be in there and be like, hey, how do I write? How do I sell my book? Be like, hey, I like your stuff. Can we be friends? It's something simple. Not, you gotta walk that fine line, because in the days of the internet, there's that creep factor that you gotta watch out for.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of authors who are really open to people saying, hey, I follow you on this media. I have this thing I'm doing, do you have any advice? Just it's delicate, but you can build a lot of really strong relationships with other authors if you just go out in the community and it's an author you like, and you just say, hey, I like your stuff. And kind of build from that. Don't go into it expecting a professional relationship, but build relationships with other authors too.
And I also think that creative industry is a lot different than other industries in that we aren't each other's competitors. Like that's a thing in business that is very common, like Walmart and Target are competitors, right? So they don't ever work together. That's not the way it is in publishing, because readers read, and just because they buy my book doesn't mean they're not going to buy Anita's book or Sean's book or whatever. It's not so there's no reason not to work together. We are not each other's competitors.
Yeah.
I was going to say YouTube, like Anita said, is one of the first places I started watching shows like Go Indie Now. Josh Robertson and Andy Pelican used to be on a show called The Writer's Edge, I think. That was a while ago. I used to watch that all the time. Those are the things that I remember when I first started out. But also another resource to look at is authors' websites. That Joanna Penn has a website with all kinds of information. David's got a a website. There's a whole bunch of authors that have readily available information out there that's good information that you can go through and learn all kinds of things. Pinterest has a lot of stuff that you can look up there. And I know Madilynn loves Pinterest.
Yes.
She's found all kinds of stuff there. But there are infinite resources out there, which is something that's really great about being an author at this time, is that you can find resources just about anywhere on the internet in whatever format that you like best. So Google search is your friend.
Yes, definitely.
I'd like to add that Kindlepreneur is also a very good website for information on authors. And they also have some very good tools over there. Some of them are free, some of them are not. But yeah, they also have videos as well. So
yeah. And also a resource that we haven't mentioned on Facebook is the 20 Books to 50K group.
Yeah.
And if anything you could possibly need to know about indie publishing can be found there. But the downside is that everything you could ever need to know about indie publishing is there. So it's easy to get overwhelmed. So that's why, like when we were talking earlier, pick the thing you want to learn that thing. But yeah, they've got a whole guide section that includes threads about just about anything any indie publisher has run into ever.
That is true. I love their guides. And on the whole con thing, because Sean mentioned the volunteering aspect, as a volunteer, you can also go around and talk to the authors at their booths. Because the con I was at CenterCon 31 last week, and I had several of the volunteers come talk to me about their work in progress. Like they're working and they're afraid of like publishing. And I'm like, well, no, don't be afraid. Like the best way is just to go for it, finish it, go from there. And I gave them like different resources where they can find editors and stuff, and like go and talk to them. Like the authors love to talk. And I mean, I had so many people come by and just talk about anything. A lot of them came from the panels and stuff, but it's just a lot. Just don't be afraid to approach us. We're just people too. So, build those relationships, get out there, chat with us, and don't be afraid of us. I promise. We don't bite that hard. So, yeah.
And go indie now.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do have a lot
You
of.
can't forget that reference and that tool.
That is true. That is true. So, guys, with those relationships and everything, after you've left the cons and stuff and you're busy doing everything, how do you keep in contact with people? Like, what are ways to keep your followers and those friends and relationships that you've created with your readers? How do you keep those going?
Newsletters.
And I'm one of those annoying people who will, if I'm comfortable with you, I will message you, and as soon as I see that green dot on it, I'll be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm on the computer a lot, so
I think we can all safely say we all are anymore. So yeah. And Anita, you mentioned newsletters, right?
Well, yeah, newsletters is the best way to keep in contact with readers. But if you want to keep in contact with authors, I mean, like I said, the Facebook groups are a great way because they're author groups. They're always posting. They're asking for information. They're asking for opinions on covers or blurbs or whatever, and give your opinions. I mean, nicely, mind you, but yeah, give your opinions and your advice, especially the newer authors. They really are like, they're a little insecure, like we all were when we started out, and still are a little bit. Yeah, we're. I'm trying to act professional here. But yeah, so I mean, give your experience, give them some of your advice from your experience, especially with things like blurbs and covers. If you're good at doing blurbs and someone's a little not good at doing blurbs, just give them a little advice on how to do it. And like I try and give advice on covers from time to time because I've done a lot of cover research. But yeah, so just interact in groups and stuff, and when people you connected with post good news, just say congratulations and things like that.
Yes, definitely interact, even if it's just a small word. So.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid. Don't think that just because you haven't published anything yet that people don't want to know your opinion. That's not true. You're a reader, presumably, and we're always interested in readers' opinions as well. So even if you have to put your reader hat on when a blurb or a title, I feel like I'm great at titles, and I encourage people to come to me if they need a title. Um, so that's one of the things when joining the group, I sold was like, hey, yeah, I know titles, I can do titles, even though I hadn't quite been published, or I'd only been published a little bit at that point. So yeah, just use whatever skills you have, and don't be afraid to. Don't feel like you've got like there's a gate there that you have to go through before people consider your opinion. That's simply not true.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on that one, guys? Oh, hopefully you cannot hear my son yelling in the background. That was really loud. So when it comes to growing as an independent, what are some challenges that you all have faced in growth?
I'm a horrible introvert. I even online, like I said, if I'm comfortable with you, yeah, I'll jump on your inst message and say, hey, what's up? But I'm a horrible introvert. It is so hard for me to do TikToks where I'm on the video, or to try to think of something engaging to say to readers, on Facebook groups or in newsletters, because I don't say things to people much unless I know them. And so if I don't know these people, and so it's hard for me to engage because I am such an introverted person. I'm so in my own little zone. So that's difficult for me in growth, is engaging more with my audience.
I think that's the common thing, I think, among most authors, indie authors, is marketing our stuff. That's the challenge, because so many of us are introverts or just aren't salespeople. And so the idea of pimping out our work can be terrifying. So I think that for many, many indie authors, I think that's the challenge. And also, there are so many ways to market your stuff. Trying to figure out the right way and actually getting yourself out of the mindset that there is a right way is probably probably one of the bigger challenges that we face, because there are so many ways to do it, and it can feel overwhelming, just like every other freaking thing in this business.
Understatement of the year. Yes.
Yes. Scheduling time to do everything is a challenge as well for me. And then in the marketing aspect, those keywords, the dreaded keywords.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big challenge. And remembering to put the hashtags
Oh my gosh.
on
Yes.
the tweets and on the Instagrams and on because half the time I tweet, oh shoot, I forgot the hashtags again.
Yes.
I actually have a hack for that. There's an app called Text Expander, and it's like $40 or something like that. And you can create little codes for, that will, fill in, like I can write, name, like X name, and it'll fill in my name, or, X address, and it'll fill in my address. And you can decide what that little shortcut thing is. I actually have a whole folder that are social media ones. So if I do like SM for social media, SM indie, it'll do a whole bunch of hashtags that I've put in there, or, SM sale or SM book or whatever. And like, then I don't have to remember all the different hashtags I have to use. It's all right there. And I can delete whatever hashtags come up that aren't actually appropriate for that. Like if I'm doing the indie tag, I include like authors of Instagram and stuff. But if I'm posting on Twitter, I don't need that. So I can delete that part.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like, I found that to be super effective.
Oh, that is
Yeah. When I do remember, I tend to use the Kindlepreneur hashtag generator, which is also very effective. You pick your social media, you pick what you're promoting, like is it an author related, is it book related, genre related, whatever, and it will spit out some hashtags for you, and then you just copy and paste them. But I don't remember to use it half the time. So
well, I feel like I can use that to fill in my text expander stuff.
Yes, for real. Yeah.
I guess my answer for this is going to be trying to get reach reach readers that are outside of my main reach, like on social media, because you can only promote to those same people so many times before they get sick of seeing it. And also social media just completely diminishes every day. It feels like we're reaching less and less people because of the algorithms. So, and how they always freaking change once you think you finally got it. But trying to find people outside of that and find ways that you can reach people who you may not have been able to reach, like on social media, people who are not on social media much, people, who are not on the certain social medias that you're on. That's where newsletters come in a lot more. Booking ads and other publications, and even going to conventions and things like that. All of those things kind of help you expand your reach. But that was the growth that I needed.
Yeah. I feel like you all have touched a little bit on mine, like my struggles. And I'm still like a baby author compared to all of you guys. So, because I've only been published 3.5 years now. So, yeah. This was like so. So, Sean, any thoughts there?
Well, trying to create a unique but authentic voice as an author, and I don't just mean in writing, but I mean in interactions like this. That is, it's still your authentic self, as I mentioned. I am pretty much everything you see here. But at the same time, you have to be engaging, you have to be professional. So, what parts of my personality do I let come through? Do I talk about politics? Spoilers, I do. And, what, just the literal presentation of myself. I've always had a tough time making this work in anything visual. I have a face for radio, as I say. And so overcoming those personal discomforts has been a bit of a struggle, but I'm working on it, and it's an ongoing process. But finding that unique voice, finding that unique persona that is both authentic and not a giant knucklehead is probably that, and marketing, as everyone else has mentioned, has been my struggle.
Yeah. So we've got these struggles. How do you feel like growth has occurred with you in that journey? Like, how have you overcome some of this stuff? And this is all leading up to another topic, but I just kind of bear with me here. Like,
Well, doing the video podcasting, that's kind of how I've been growing. Because, like, if you had asked me before I started if I'd ever do that, I would have said, nope, no. Because, I don't like being in front of people in real life. I still don't, but I'm getting better at that aspect of it too. But I sit down in front of a video camera and none of that is there. It's all gone. I don't know why, but I'm comfortable in front of the video camera. So I went and I ran with that. And that's helped me grow. And it's also helped me expand my network of authors because I'm interviewing a lot of them. So now I know a lot more people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's helped a great deal with me.
Yeah.
I found a very non-independent way to grow. I actually got kidnapped by a PA, so to speak. My PA just kind of found me and took me in, and she helped me with a lot of stuff that, as an indie you can do yourself, but sometimes getting help isn't a bad thing. She helps me with finding Facebook parties to do, finding hops for my group, to have people join my group, promotions, things like that. It's amazing what, just one little person, just a little bit of help can do. So even though you want to be independent, don't be afraid to get help on things that you maybe can't do yourself so much, or maybe have trouble with.
Nice.
I'm going to say that the business that I have with Fiction Atlas has really helped me reach more people because people are constantly reaching out to me. So that's one advantage that I have with doing that. But also being able, like Sean has been saying, going out to cons, being able to do cons and to connect with people who do cons, you meet so many more people than you do online, and you make better connections, I feel. More real connections, I guess, because you're face to face. And doing that has expanded my reach a ton just in the last few months where I went to Imaginarium. So, and I'm going to Imaginarium next year, and I'm going to try to go to Multiverse and a couple other ones after that. So, you know, so I'm really happy with the growth that I've seen through that, and I'm going to continue to do it as long as I can because it seems to be working.
Yay, you got a resounding cheer for Multiverse there. So we're all going to be there.
Oh my God, I get to meet Courtney in person. Oh my God.
Sean?
Well, I was going to say this, doing this, honestly, the fact that Joe even thought to invite me to occasionally be on Go Indie or This Week in Indies and other things, that's helped me quite a bit. And not just to get my, more people know who I am, but also overcoming what I was just talking about, that whole problem with my face, that it allows me, there is somebody on the other side of the camera who's watching this. And so it's helped me quite a bit with overcoming those issues.
Ooh, yes. And I'm going to pop A.L. Mingle's stuff in here because he's joined us. I found that getting out from behind the keyboard has helped me grow. I went on my first book tour in 2018, which helped me grow my following and sales. Like CL said, connections are paramount.
Yes.
And it was, I'm assuming it was like an in-person book tour. I'm right? Like, because I know digital book tours have kind of picked up in the last couple of years, but
yes, I haven't heard of I wouldn't even know where to start with an in-person book tour because I'm so used to doing everything online. Yeah.
Man, that would be really cool to do.
Well, yeah, I think it would be. I just recently, because a friend of mine was selling at a local bookstore, and so I went up to support them, and then turned into, I got my own day where I'll be at that bookstore in October,
Yay.
right? So that turned out to be really good. So also your independent bookstore gets you, right? They understand exactly who you are. And so hooking up with them, figuratively, not literally, will, or whatever works for you, and we'll see there's that personality that should never come through, and they get, like I said, they get you. So getting up with them, working with them, it benefits them, it benefits you. It's a great relationship to have, and I'm hoping that this is the first of many such relationships.
Sweet. And AL says, I have been touring on my second tour since May of 2022. I have adopted the long-running tour concept, and all tour events are created for people to follow online for the international audience.
Wow. I feel like we need to have AL on just to give us how does that work?
Yeah, like a crash course.
Yes, exactly.
Get into it.
So Joe, go get AL to do a crash course for us.
Yeah, he is starting up his Teachables show again. AL would be perfect guest for that.
Perfect. Yes. No pressure, AL. None.
Oh, man.
But we're all relying on you.
Yes. So before we dive into this next question, I'm going to bring up a great selection for you guys of indie books brought to us by the lovely CL herself. So take a break, grab a fresh cup of coffee if you need to, guys, but don't miss this.
Hey guys, CL Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another Indie Connection. Today I'd like to tell you about some indie books that you might enjoy if you're a fan of Witch King by Martha Wells. First book I have for you is called The Dragon's Blade by Michael R. Miller. This is actually the complete trilogy. Arrogant, scornful, full of pride, Darnyor, Prince of Dragons, cares nothing for the damage he's doing to the faltering alliance against the Shadow. He thinks himself invincible, right up till a mortal wound forces him to undergo a dangerous rebirthing spell, leaving him a helpless babe in human hands. 20 years pass, and demonic forces are poised to sweep across the land. With the alliance between humanity, dragons, and fairies fracturing, Darnyor will have to uncover the secrets of his past, seek redemption for his sins, and rally the disparate races if they are to survive. Only Darnyor can do this, for he's the last member of the royal bloodline, and only he can wield the dragon's blade. His second chance is the world's last hope. The second book I have for you is called The Knight's Secret by Geoffrey Bardwell. A terrible secret, a vengeful empress, an unstable empire. Sir Corbin, retired hero of Jerkham Pass, dies on the eve of an urgent mission. Rumors of an evil magic threaten his family. His granddaughter, Kelsa, dons the old man's armor and wrinkles to investigate the capital. The city is in an uproar. The emperor has been slain by rogue mages. The new empress is livid. Now every mage is suspect, including Kelsa's mother. Hidden behind her mother's magic ring, Kelsa infiltrates her grandfather's regiment. The bonds between retired army mages and cavalry have already begun to crack. Kelsa finds herself trapped in a pit of tangled plots and lustful adventures. The disguised hero struggles to wield Corbin's shining legacy, while the regiment splinters around her. The deeper she veers into his shadow, the more tarnish she uncovers. Can Kelsa save anyone before the vengeful empress and Corbin's sordid past expose her? The third book I have for you is called The Assassin of Grins and Secrets by K.E. Andrews. Once the infamous assassin who killed with a smile, Sarah now waits for death in the fighting pits of the Harpy's chest. When the crown prince of Sardon, Ramesses al-Amiroez, seeks her out with an offer of freedom if she serves as his guard, she must decide whether to work for those who ravaged her homeland or die. Ramesses wants to believe that the war his father started was justified, but he has heard rumors and seen a cruelty in his father that causes him to question everything he's been told. To find answers, he needs Saren. Uriah Stormare, captain of Oyon's city guard, finds himself caught between his duty to the crown and his friendship with Ramesses. His distrust for Ramesses' new guard runs deep. As Uriah wrestles with guilt from his past, he must work alongside the dangerous assassin whose true motives are hidden underneath her scars and dark grins. In a land of hot sands and dying magic, Saren plays the game of secrets with Uriah and Ramesses, knowing one wrong step could end her life. As the shadows of her past catch up with her, she has to choose between pursuing vengeance and protecting a secret only she knows. And the last book I have for you is called Swords of Deception by Rowan Stafler. 3 years of imprisonment has Elamar dangling on brink of insanity. She's thought of nothing but revenge, but the unauthorized use of her powers is what got her into this mess. Circumstances are looking up, though. Seems the Council of Witches has realized they have a common enemy. The very same Selena who left Elamar for dead slaughtered everyone aboard a royal ship and has been a fugitive for several years. The Council sees a golden opportunity in vengeful Elamar, enticing her with freedom in exchange for tracking down the elusive Selena. How could she possibly say no? Her fantasy of retribution is within her grasp, and she'll walk free at the end of it. It's all she wanted over these long, dark years. The Council is even willing to bend their precious rules about murder. But right away, things are adding up. Clues that Selena's horrific act might have been justified lead Elamar down a disturbing path, leaving her wondering if she's chasing the wrong enemy. This is way more than she signed up for, but turning a blind eye gets harder the more she finds, confronting her with an impossible choice. Collect her freedom or save the kingdom. Okay, that's all for me this week. I'll see you next week on The Indie Connection. Bye!
Man, those books, guys. My TBR list constantly grows, Courtney, when you bring this on here. So, oh, man. And then, so AL says he was on Origins back in the day for catching up on that, the last bit where we left off. And Vanessa's adding in on the books. Like, yes, they're so awesome. So, guys, as independents, we've mentioned having to work with others to bring our books and stuff to life. when it comes to collaborating, like co-authoring and stuff, or working with others to bring that dream, do you struggle with meshing with those people to bring what you see in your head to life, working with them? Like some people just don't get it. Like, how does collab work for you, I guess, as an independent?
I think it helps to find the person that you mesh with first before you try to mesh styles. I've co-written a horror book with Angelique Jordana, and I mean, we've had people tell us they can't tell who wrote what chapter because our styles meshed so well. But we mesh well. We get along well. We talk to each other like every day. So I think finding someone that you mesh with as a person helps to mesh your styles.
I don't know that I could ever do a co-write just because I'm a needy control freak and I'm not good at collaborating in that way creatively with people. I'm good at, organizing things and helping people come together in groups and things like that. I mean, I've run box sets, I've run all the stuff with Fiction Atlas, but it's just something about, like, the only thing I've ever collaborated with another author on creatively was my little sister, and we wrote a Lord of the Rings fan fiction when she was like 8. That was it. And I just don't see, I mean, I'd like to be able to do that, but I don't know that I could relinquish that control.
Yeah, I've never collaborated with another author either. I'm not sure another author would be able to reach my level of stabbiness, but there might be a few out there. But I mean, I've never had any problems meshing with the editors, either with just my stuff or doing anthologies and stuff. So mostly probably because I'm much harder on my own work than any editor could ever be. So
yeah.
Now, I think I'm currently in the early stages of a collaboration, and everything that everyone has said holds true. And I think too, being someone who's a bit of a control freak, I realized that the person I'm working with has a specific vision that was a little bit more specific than mine. So the ability to step back and say, okay, we'll work around this, and I'll fight the battles I need to fight. And going with the idea that you're working with someone who you already get on with, made it more comfortable for me to give up that control a little bit. Because in the end, I think that this book will be amazing. Obviously, I think that, but no, I think it'll be really amazing, and I'm excited by the collaboration. And maybe that's the key, is getting excited about the collaboration itself, and then working out where, and not this, it could be with the person. I mean, who doesn't want to write with someone they admire, but the specific story that you all want to tell. Getting excited about that helps smooth over the rough spots that are going to come up.
Yeah.
I haven't done any collaborative work as far as writing with someone. I've done collaborative work on the editorial side. Like, I obviously, I don't do my own covers. So there's the visual collaboration of me describing what kind of a cover I want and the cover artist doing their thing. I have been an editor, a fiction editor, since 2008. So I've worked on hundreds of projects with authors, but they're their projects, right? So it's not like even though that is sort of collaboration, it's still their project, not our project, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think remembering that, like remembering whose project it is important, like regardless of what kind of a project it is. If you're collaborating and it's an 50-50, everybody's in, right? Everybody's into the project and has the same amount of responsibility. That's a different thing than if you are collaborating in a way that is actually assisting someone versus being a part of the project as an end result. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that does make really good sense. So
Sometimes stuff makes sense in my head, but it does not survive the trip out my mouth.
I can relate to that. Yeah, that happens a lot. So, from my own personal experience as trying to co-author, it's kind of not worked out, obviously, because I haven't published anything with it. I've tried to co-write with two different individuals, and neither one of them wanted to stick with it. Like, I did a lot of work on my end, and I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna try to go for, and it just I was like,
It's-
okay, well, if you're not going to put in the effort, I'm not going to do this.
Mhm.
Like, so.
It's very much like being assigned to a group project when you were in school, where somebody carries the weight, and you can't do that. I had an anthology magazine that I ran for about 2.5 years, which I loved the concept of, but the person I went into business with, who was a friend who I thought would be a really good person to work with, turned out to be really not a good person to work with. And that ended up blowing up in my face. So I ended up having to carry this magazine that I still loved all by myself. And that was before I knew very much about indie publishing and stuff like that, as far as the promotion and options for that. And so it ended up just what could have been a really incredible project just ended up being, I mean, I still enjoyed what I did with it, and I'm still proud of what I put out along with the authors who were involved, but it was way more than I was intending, because I wasn't intending to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
So
It does make it really hard. Have you guys tried to collab with any other projects besides like writing a story that kind of has a similar process?
I volunteered a couple of times for online conventions, organizing and helping out and stuff like that. And that's a very big collaboration. And as you can imagine, it sometimes becomes frustrating and stuff. But yeah, it was fun.
I don't know if you call it necessarily a collaboration, but I moderate the group that Vanessa started, the writing tribe. I feel like we've done pretty good together. Exactly kind of the things we've talked about here, in growing the group and doing things in the group and making it a very active group. So I guess to some degree it's a collaboration, but it's also acknowledging that this was her baby, and that we want to make sure that the baby grows up to be a good adult.
Yeah. And I would recommend that if you are going to do a collaboration of any type, that especially something that is potentially a moneymaker, like a book, absolutely have a contract between you and your collab partner, because it doesn't matter if you're friends, doesn't matter. Have an actual contract, because that is going to, it doesn't mean you don't trust each other. It means that you've created a roadmap of how this is going to work, and how, if one of you wants to withdraw, how to do that. I absolutely recommend having a contract always.
That's actually a genius idea, and that's probably would have helped had I done that before trying to write with those two. Because then we would have had it out like in stone, like this is what you agreed to. Like you gotta hold up your end of the contract. That's a great tip for anybody seeking to collab. So yeah.
It also can help outline, like, obviously what responsibilities are, but also what the money, how the money's going to work, so it's important.
Especially with the publishing thing and having it that way, you both get paid for your portion of it. I like that. That's a great tip, and I'm gonna have to write that down to remember it.
I think we have to remember that, even though, like I said earlier, that publishing is not, like, the author industry is not the same as other industries in that we're not directly competitive, but it is the same in other industries in that it's a business. And so things that are applicable to businesses in general are also applicable here. And there's a reason that these safeguards, like contracts, because that's what a contract really is, it's a safeguard. There's a reason that these are all acceptable and important aspects of doing business. So
yeah. Cool. So what would you guys say are some takeaways that you've gathered this year so far? Because I know we're about halfway through the year, maybe a little over half now. Oi. Whew. That you've picked up that you're planning to utilize as your own personal way to keep growing as an independent.
For me, it's get help where I need it. Like I mentioned with having a PA. I've learned that I can't, as much as I want to be the control person and have control over every little aspect, I've got to learn to relinquish some of that in order to be a more effective indie author. I've got to not necessarily do it all myself. I've got to find the places where I have less strength and get help in those places, and utilize that what I can.
Yeah,
that's so important.
yeah. Mine is to make plans, whether it's a writing schedule plan or a marketing plan, and not make a plan for a whole year, but for 90 days. Yeah, 90 days only. So it's easier if you do small chunks, like 90 days, instead of doing a whole year's plan of activities, and also to-do lists.
Yes.
I was going to say patience, probably. Is my is a big takeaway from this year. It's okay if you have to plan to launch your book in 2 months instead of 1 month. I know it's very exciting, very eager. You want to see it in your hand, and believe me, it's great when you see your book in your hand, your writing, your everything. I can only imagine it's going to be better if I one day see it on an actual bookshelf in an actual bookstore. That's going to be fantastic. But be patient with yourself, and let the process take as long as it takes. Now, we all sort of procrastinate sometimes, and that's its own issue. But you really need to just be patient with the process. And I think too, the other thing is you need to write the story or the book or whatever. So if you don't write the story, none of the rest of it really matters. Readers will be excited for your book, and then a year from now, if it's still not out, they're not gonna be as excited for your book. So be patient, but also write the damn story, because if you don't, then none of the rest of it's going to matter.
Oh my God! Thank you for calling me out, Sean. I want to add to that though. Those who know me know I've had a really, really, really difficult year. Really difficult 3 years, but this year is just par for the course for this decade for me. But the thing that I've been learning is that you have to prioritize, because you can't do everything, and it's okay. Like, actively, it's okay. It's okay if I can't get this finished. It's okay if I'm struggling. It's okay. Can't use that as an excuse not to do the things, but you have to be kind to yourself, especially if there are things going on that are affecting your mental health, your life in general, your time. You're the only you have. And so be kind to yourself. Don't hold yourself to a standard that you wouldn't hold a friend to. You're not a special snowflake. So that's it. You can take me off the main screen now. Anytime now, Maddie. Anytime. No, it's my show now. All to hell. It's my show. Maddie lost connection.
Oh,
So
no.
I'm just gonna sit here and hang out, I guess. Thank you. There you go.
Sorry, my computer froze up and I was like, man, are we losing internet already? Perks of storm weather moving through Oklahoma, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, who is going to talk next? Because I totally lost.
Now everybody's kind of terrified.
Don't keep me up there.
Okay, I'll put it up too.
I'm fine with it. I'll just take over the show.
Here comes Anita, y'all.
Oh, Lord. I'm going to say pretty much the same thing Vanessa said, because this year I've took a lot more time for myself that I needed for my health and for other reasons. I've always been someone who is just working constantly all the time, where I have no breaks. I have my kids. I'm homeschooling my kids. I'm, making sure they don't kill each other. I'm doing all this stuff for Fictionalists. I'm trying to write my stories. I'm trying to do anthologies. I'm trying to do all these things at one time. And it just, after a while, you just burn out. And so I've been trying to prioritize having a certain amount of time for myself every day, to work out, to do something that I enjoy, to spend time with my kids that's not, teaching them or trying to keep them from killing each other. And it's been a lot better. My life has felt like it's gotten more enjoyable, and I don't dread every day all the stuff that I have to do. I have just kind of tried to take it slower, not do so many things at once, and still trying to maintain all the plates that I have spinning, but doing it in a more eloquent way than just going like this all over the place, trying to catch them from falling. So
I feel that one for sure.
I think work balance is super important for indie authors. I mean, because it can, you can very easily forget that weekends are a time you're supposed to take for yourself,
Yeah.
So
I took yesterday I had just finished revising and doing self edits before sending it off to my editor. Just finished a manuscript. I took yesterday as a day off. I doom scrolled. I watched TV with my husband. I took a nap. I took a day because I have a day job and I write, and I tend to write on the weekends too because I don't get much time during the week because I have a day job. So yeah, you got to take time for yourself because otherwise you are going to burn fast.
Yeah, you can either take time for yourself as you go, or your body will tell you that you're done.
Yep.
It'll stop you.
So
Yes. John, did you want to add to that?
I was just going to say that, the other day, my daughter and I built some Legos. And it's surprisingly that when we were done, I wasn't eager to rush back to the internet or writing or anything. I was like, oh, this is very cool. We had a really good time just building the Legos together, and that helped reset me in a way I wasn't expecting.
yeah.
So build Legos, it's great.
Yeah, it's a good mindful activity. I did a lot of that. If you guys saw on my Facebook, I posted a bunch of pictures, my personal Facebook, that I spent a lot of time just out in nature and hiking and playing with my son this week and played in the mud. I was just you know what? I'm not even going to stress about trying to do work because I brought stuff to do work and I didn't do as much as I'd planned, which was nice. It was just good to kind of decompress and it put me in a better mindset. So
I think we have to remember that as creators, that's what refills our well, right? Is interacting with other people, enjoying life, living life. That's where we get our impetus and our ideas and stuff. It's very hard, I think, to create stories in isolation.
yeah, it is. Oh. Well, guys, this has been an excellent chat. Let's go around and let our listeners and viewers know where they can find you and your work. We're going to start and move backwards from Vanessa. And hopefully the internet does not freeze out.
It'll just be me the whole time. So this is the first book of the Soul Cavern series, Javaja. You just look for that on, I swear it'll be the only thing you find. You can also take the link that's down in the show notes. I didn't bother putting it up here. My name is spelled weird, so it's hard to find everywhere. But if you find it, it's me. So you can also find me here tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Conversation and a Cocktail. We're going to be talking to Mike Jack Sto.
Yeah.
It's got a U in it somewhere, and that always throws me off. But yeah, it's going to be a really great show. Also, as has been mentioned a couple times, I run the Writing Tribe, which is a writerly support group on Facebook and Discord. So you can just do a search for TWT and you will find it under the group section if you would like a group to hang out with.
Yeah.
You guys can find me at this link in bio and my website. I am on pretty much every social media except for Snapchat. I am on Threads now. It's been pretty good so far. So I've just been trying it out and mostly being like less promoty over there and just enjoying other book people. So it's been really nice. I have a anthology that still needs submissions. We got one more month before submissions close for Fate's Design. You can find information on Fiction Atlas. So go to fiction-atlas.com and go to publishing, and there will be the open call there, and you can see all the details. It's open. Submissions are open until the 31st for short stories. So,
Sweet.
Hi. You can find all my stuff over on my website at afstewart.ca, including books like this one, Visions and Nightmares, which is soon to have a sequel, Fairy Tales and Nightmares, coming in October. Yes, and the cover reveal for Fairy Tales and Nightmares will be on my blog tomorrow. Well, at least the cover teaser. The reveal's coming in August. But anyway, and you can also check out my video stuff on my YouTube and my show for Go Indie Now, Words That Kill, on the Go Indie Now network. I have design stores on Zazzle, and soon you will probably see all my stuff on Crystal Lake Publishing. So
Sweet.
I'm unmuted. There we go.
Yes, I was going to remind you.
So SM Hillman, you can find everything linked at thewittyboys.com. I just released my first short story collection, The Language of Skeptics. People really like it. So, pick it up and write a review. I would appreciate that very much. And I also moderate the Writing Tribe for Vanessa. So just, another pitch for that. And yeah, hopefully, I've got a few ideas today, so maybe there'll be cool things in the future. You never know.
Yeah.
And you can find me at ajmullican.com, right over wherever that thing is. You can find my books. This is my latest release, Micah's Girls. This is a contemporary romance, single dad romance. It's nice, and it's not angsty, so you don't have to worry about any other woman drama or anything like that. And ajmullican.com/author has all my links. I'm not on Threads yet. I'm thinking about it, but I haven't gotten and hopped over there yet because it just came up yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't know. Yeah, so look me up, follow me, do all the things.
Yeah. And before I get to my stuff, I want to pull up Ale Mingle's comment. He added to our conversation. I have a tendency to go too hard with my writing, creativity, etc. I have people in my life who purposely make sure that I am socialized and take the time that I need to make sure I do not burn out, which is good. That's why it's important to have a good community around you guys. I'm Madilynn Dale. This is Go Indie Now. You found us. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Share the show. We have more great shows coming up this week, including Vanessa's show, Conversation and a Cocktail, which is an amazing show to watch, guys. It's a lot of fun. There's also The Green Room with David Green. He's got a great show coming up. And I believe Friday there is a special spotlight on multiverse author guests and other guests. I think everybody's going to be on at some point with Joe. And then Sunday we have pretty much the finale for this season's This Week in Indie. Gosh, not this year's. Oh my gosh. You guys know we have a fall session. But yeah, be sure to join us next week at the same time. Mark your calendars, hit the bell icon to know when we do more lives. And you can find my work at thechaptergoddess.com. I produce a podcast. I'm a blogger, freelancer, all the things. That's a lot. I'm kind of cut back on my socials. I am no longer on a ton. I'm only on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook and Pinterest right now. So 4, you guys can find me there. And yeah, this has been a wonderful show. We've had a great list of panelists today. And you guys watching, check out all of our books. And remember that it is always time to go indie now. Have a good one.